Welcome back everybody to 31 Days of Horror, and today we're taking a look at 1980's The Changeling. So this is directed by Peter Medek, who also did the really rather fantastic Romeo is Bleeding. So this is a supernatural psychological horror film, clocking in at 107 minutes long. Stars George C. Scott, who would start the subsequent decade off with the even better The Exorcist 3. But it was also really rather great in the likes of Anatomy of a Murder, The Last Run, The New Centurions, The Day of the Dolphin, and The Hindenburg. Also stars Trish Van Devere, who got married to George C. Scott after their appearances together in The Last Run. She subsequently starred alongside him in also The Day of the Dolphin, but she was on her own films like The Hearse and Messenger of Death. And finally stars Melvin Douglas, who was in Ghost Story the subsequent year after this, which was also a really rather good horror film, as well as Being There, Twilight's Last Gleaming, and Hood. So after a tragic event happens, composer John Russell moves to Seattle to try to overcome it and build a new and peaceful life in a lonely big house that has been uninhabited for many years. But soon after, the obscure history of such an old mansion and his own past begin to haunt him. So even though this might have seemed old school even in 1980, given it was released in the midst of the emerging slasher genre, this nonetheless neatly mixes different approaches to doing a horror film, with the likes of a haunted house, a murder mystery, and the psychological genre being thrown together to make for one hell of an atmospheric film that manages to make even something as innocent as a child's play ball really rather creepy. Joe C. Scott is also excellent in the leading role. The supporting cast is really good. The pacing is on point. It is well shot. The production is great. The score is not only brilliant, but the music itself plays a role in the film, which is also well used. It is highly engaging throughout, has plenty of effective tension, and the characterization is solid as well. So, yeah, fantastic film. One of my all-time favorite horror films, to be honest. And yeah, this second sight release that I can't remember when actually did get released. I don't have the J card around it anymore. Um, is a fantastic 4K edition of the film as well. So yeah, they had actually released a limited edition version of this on Blu-ray, which I still have purely because it comes with a poster, whereas you get no such thing with this one. Um, but yeah, obviously we do get other things with this one we didn't get in that release as well, such as obviously the 4K transfer, which looks and sounds excellent. We also get a bunch of art cards with this release as well. So minor spoilers for the film in each of these. Nothing on the reverse of them either, by the way. So yeah, nicely printed on thick card. And we also get a really rather quite thick book with this one as well. It's how many pages? 108 pages, which is obviously quite lengthy. And yeah, continues on with the new artwork, but obviously inspired by the film itself. And inside we get shots from the film as well as cast and crew. The Changeling by Heather Wixon, Haunting in the Age of Conspiracy by Martin Conterio. I would say it also includes elements of the conspiracy thriller in this as well in a certain regard, but it's nowhere near as prevalent as the horror or the psychological parts. You've also got Off Cold Carts and Car Crashes by Alexander Heller Nicholas. Fear is Personal, The Changeling as a Masterclass on Influential Scares by Megan Navarro. Raging Heart, George C. Scott's Grief, Guilt and the Gothic by Rich Johnson. Then we got A Powerful Presence, a tribute to the music of The Changeling by Rachel Reeves. The Changeling, The Ghost Story as Detective Story by Mikkel J. Coven. Time Does Not Heal All Wounds, Grief in The Changeling by Shayla Rowan Legg. Then we've got The Changeling director Peter Maddock, interviewed by Bob Martin, and acknowledgements and production credits as well. So, yeah, really rather nicely done book. As per usual with Second Sight, when it comes to their books, they always do a standout job, quite frankly. So, yeah, I don't think it says about the restoration in this at all. Nope. It came out in 2023, by the way, so not entirely sure why I didn't review it at the time. But, you know, regardless, it's still a fantastic film. And then we get the films on the disc, and we also get a couple of other ones as well. So, that's involved in this case, which I really like it when they do this kind of artwork kind of thing on the back of the paper and plastic case. Hammer has done it with their 4K big limited edition box sets as well. So yeah, we have a CD with the soundtrack, we have the Blu-ray in the middle, and then we have the 4K on that side as well. So yeah, like I said, the soundtrack is really, really good. So it's cool that they included it with a soundtrack on the actual disc itself. So yeah, which is all well and done. And yeah, fantastic film, superb edition from Second Sight, and a film that whenever it comes to recommending any horror film, I generally put this in my top 10 for films to recommend people to see, especially when it comes to recommending films from the 80s that aren't your typical slasher with teenagers getting, brutally cut up and such. It's just, yeah, far better than a lot of those other films like that. And yeah, it was even a modest hit even at the time. Cost about $6.6 million to make, which you can certainly see on the screen, but made around 12 million worldwide. So a decent success as well, despite obviously the slasher genre being even more popular with that, given Halloween only a couple of years earlier made about 100 million. So yeah, but still an excellent film in its own right. It's 4.5 out of 5, and yeah, one of my all-time favorites from George C. Scott. And yeah, definitely one of the horror films that I always try to see during the Halloween season. So yeah, and that's another reason to review it now today. So yeah. Nonetheless, so if you have seen this film before, I'd like to hear your thoughts on it. But thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.